So today is October 12th, 2023. There are a lot of wild events taking place in the world, and the information can be quite disturbing, but it can also be quite false. So it drags our energy down. We're not as positive. We can't think as clearly. So today I've invited Claudio and Lois and Rob Potter to be here with us to talk about what's going on, how to discern what's real and what's not, and what we should be focusing on so we can keep our vibration high, stay healthy, and be good information sharers with the world so that we can all progress on this journey without all the fear, because that is kind of one of the agendas with the media. So we're going to talk about different sources for information. Between Lois and Claudio, I'd like one of you to go first. Do either one of you want to start? Raise your hand if you do.
Lois. Ladies first.
Thank you, Claudio. Lois, please talk.
Thank you, Claudio. So the whole concept of discernment is key. I don't know if you know much. I have actually published 4 books. The trilogy of the Chronicles of Hope came through a series of channeled messages from divine light sources. And I have been living by them. And what's fascinating is it's almost 7 years ago to the day that these channeled messages started coming through. And my mission over this past period of time is to get their messages out to the world. And it is a message of hope. And it is a message of discernment, of getting rid of hate, of shifting away, that we are all one, we are all interconnected, and that we must discern for ourselves and get away from following those that would sway you one way or the other. Learning, once you're clear, and I love that you do the clearing intention. We've been given specific rules to clear our energy on a regular basis. I call it spiritual hygiene, and my clients say, do I have to do it every day? And I say, no, but you don't have to brush your teeth but once a week. You don't have to do this all the time. So I recommend that you do it on a regular basis, especially if you have been around any negative energy, because the brighter lights you are, the more you're apt to attract those that are looking for the light and those that are looking to dim your light. So there are both. I work and have for 30 years worked with what I call rescuing spirits, because I communicate with them and find out what happened to them and how may we help you. So I am a spirit rescuer, helping them by the hundreds, if not thousands, sometimes into a place of healing, and then also dealing with the ones that have been harmed and helping them. So discernment is key. And there are many ways that you can discern, but once you're clear, once you have a strong connection with your divine light beings, then they will let you know. That's where don't pay attention to me. You need to we all need to pay attention to our divine light beings that come through us. And I just gave a presentation to a national conference, and my hypothesis was and is that 90% of spontaneous past lives, because I am a hypnotist, a metaphysical hypnotist, 90% of spontaneous past lives are not the client's own. They are typically the life of a spirit that has come to that person. And as the spirit is there, they have come because it's a relative, because their light was shining so brightly. Our beloved light workers who are blasting their light without protection are magnets to these lost souls. And then they end up sharing their energy with the living. So that's one. But the other one that is even more critical is, I want to say, probably 70% of people's guides are not of the light. They haven't discerned. They haven't said, is this the true Jesus? Oh, Jesus is my guide. Have you looked at his eyes? Oh, they're kind of red, or they're kind of mean. That ain't Jesus. People just are caught. When people get into a place of fear, they call, anybody help me. And anybody will come help. And that's the problem, is they have not been using discernment. So when we ask for guidance, we must make sure we're asking from the light and discerning by way of looking, feeling, sensing. And once you have a knowing and you have a real connection with your guides, you're communicating with them all the time. But you have to clear out the rubble. It's like you've got to clear out the rubble in the closet before you can hang everything nicely, right? So it's like, and then you have to build that foundation so that you know in your own self what is true, what is not, what is, so you use your own barometer. Yes, you can use dowsing and all types of things, but ultimately you can tell by what your gut is feeling, paying attention. Once you're clear and once you have a clear connection with your guides, then you know if something is not necessarily of truth. And maybe that person has been hijacked, maybe that person has been influenced. That is not for us to judge. It is for us to discern whether to pay attention to what they're saying or whether to pay attention to our inner guidance system. And at this point, most light workers have their own inner guidance system that is developing. And as it becomes more developed, you will get clear answers for yourself. So that's my little bit. Reverend Kat, do you have any comments or questions about that? You're muted.
Details. It reminds me of trying to use a Ouija board without really understanding what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And it is just for you to know. She does teach these courses on how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the links in the article that I wrote to invite people here, but I'll ask you to go ahead and type them into the chat so that others can see in case they're interested in learning how to do this, to really protect yourself and clear so you're not bringing in just anybody, because if it's in your head, you just think, oh, well, it must be who I need. It might be my spirit guide, but that's not often the case.
I have many stories of, yes, my grandmother is my guardian angel. And she was a grumpy old cuss, you know. Yeah, no. Just because she died did not make her enlightened.
Yeah.
You've got to discern. And so, yeah, and I'm the founder of the Academy of Light with programs to teach light workers just how to clear their energy and how to clear their clients. Simple exercises, a simple training program for light workers. And then those that want to go on and learn more about really clearing spirits, that's the level 2. And then level 3 is a master of light, where we're dealing with, you know, what I used to always call nasties, the reptilians, the grays, the sorcery, that kind of stuff. That is a level 3. It takes you got to build a good foundation before you get into doing that work. Otherwise, you get into a lot of trouble.
Thanks, Lois. I'm hoping to throw a question at you a little later, but we'll go around the room and see what others have to say. Claudio, can I call on you next?
Sure. You're spot on, sister. I mean, I try not to be redundant and try not to repeat anything you said and just try to build. Same thing with guidance, right? Had all kinds of guidance. I can get into detail and spend a lot of time, but I won't, because we know we all can be guided, right? What I was focused on and what I was led to is the Egyptian walls, because we left the messages there, because we've been in a spiritual Alzheimer's for 2,000 years in the Piscean age, and the Piscean age is the least amount of love and the most amount of allowed free will. So what's on the Egyptian walls is not literal beings, just like in the Bible. It's not literal. It's your story about you on the wheel. And what's written on the Egyptian walls is about you, and it's not about any kings or any queens. It's your version on the wheel. So you are the chosen one, and you have to really understand that you are the chosen one of your own world, and it's your actions, your waves. So if you can picture yourself right now sitting in a kiddie pool, a small children's pool that's only 1 foot deep, 6 foot diameter, if you sit in the middle of it and do nothing and be in a loving state, and the water is going to be like a mirror. If you slap the waters, you create a wave. That wave goes out, hits the walls, and come back to find you, because it's yours. You did it, and you're in your world there. So that's what the Egyptian walls is about the actions that we've created. Only you create your world by your actions. Anybody else coming into your world and does something that's not good, it's your karma. It's because they're trying to guide you back to one love. So when we realize that you are the creator of your own world, then you are completely in charge. And how do you stop these karmic actions from coming at you? Well, you do that with forgiveness. You got to forgive yourself for ever doing that in a past life or this life, because we're infinite. My favorite saying is, you're infinite, get over it. We left those messages for now, and we were guided to the stars to show that we pre-predicted a corona chakra cleansing happening in January of 2020. And then they announced the coronavirus. It's all in the stars. Everything that's happening. Revelation 12:1 happened on April 15th of 2023. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon at her feet. You have to do astrology correctly, though. Not saying that the other astrologers aren't good. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you want to get it right 100% of the times, you got to use what we left behind on the Egyptian walls. And that's exactly what's happening in the sky. And the way you line up the stars is with spica. That is the grain of harvest. When you line spica up with the west, then everything lines up. Now we can show you the magic. I'm not trying to sell anybody into astrology, because we don't make any money. We do it for free. But everything that happens to you is in your chart. Everything. And it's not because you selected this life to come here. It's because of your actions. Like Kat said yesterday, when you try to squeeze an animal through a camel through the eye of a needle, only the love's going to make it through. There's your ether in physics. There's your quantum entanglement. The noise that is left behind you, you will come back and you will wear that karmic actions. That's the Piscean age. So we've left a lot of baggage behind. So our DNA chain holds that. So when you're calling upon your angels, know that you're calling upon your ancestry based on your karmic actions. So again, how do you clear that? You clear it by saying, forgive me for leaving that behind. When somebody does something to you, you got to forgive yourself. Then forgive them for delivering the karma. Give them gratitude. And then repaint the image of what you want, because now you have to remake those vibrations you're leaving in the waters. You have to remake them in a loving way. There's where Dr. Emoto comes in, because Dr. Emoto shows you that when he talks to water, the memory is there. What isn't water? Like Matt, my buddy Matt says, what isn't water? Everything's water. So everything around you will always know what your Akashic record is. That's where the consciousness is. It's in everything. Your quantum entanglement, right? Your ether. It's everywhere. So no matter where you go, you can't escape your karma. When somebody gets married 10 times over and he ends up with the same woman, it's because he hasn't cleared it yet. So your karmic actions will always find you. So, and the proof is in the astrology charts. So you don't need astrology. Just look around you. If your life's not good, it's because of you, not because of them. It's what you've left in the waters. And that's where the Egyptologists are reading what's on the walls. The weighing of the heart ceremony is that's where you get tested when you leave the visible. Because you don't leave, you don't die. There's no such thing as death in Egypt. So when the weighing of the heart ceremony is about you now and the vibrations you're leaving in the light. So again, you're infinite, get over it. Now it's just about time and forgiveness. So we're into the age of Aquarius. November 27th, Mary steps on the snake. So Genesis 3:15 happens in the sky. So the sun was on the eastern side with Mother Mary and now goes up to the western side and meets with her, where Mary steps on the snake. And that's on every Christian church around the world. You'll see images of Mary stepping on the snake with the moon at her, which is represented by the moon there. So that means she's stepping on the ego, all our memories, karmic. So that's where all our karmic debt gets relieved. The Jubilee that everybody's talking about, that's happening in the sky on November 27th. So it's important that we understand what the ego is, and that we're the only ones that make the vibrations. Thank you.
Thanks, Claudio. And for those who aren't familiar with Emoto's work, what he'd do is set up a couple vials of water, and one he would bless and say loving things to, and the other ones they would curse and tell it that it wasn't welcome there, that sort of thing. Then they would freeze it, take a slice of it, and look at it under the microscope. And the one that was getting all the loving intentions and words would show these beautiful crystalline forms, where the not so good vibration water would be malformed. pretty ugly, like muddy waters. And the muddy waters are us, as you're saying. Is this right, Claudio? That if we don't clear those muddy waters, then we have these nasty things in how we project ourselves and the things that come back to us, because life is sort of like a mirror, right? Isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly that. And the proof is in the charts. I mean, I can see when I even step on a thorn that it's in the chart. And I knew exactly what that message was. When an insect comes, when any animal, remember, animal is the word anima, and anima means soul, your soul guides. So the things we're doing to the animals and the insects, you're destroying your soul guides. That's why I became vegan. And that's why the Egyptian walls have all the animal headed gods and goddesses. Those are you. Those are your soul guides. Anima means soul in Italian. Animal, anima, animals. So they're constantly. I was missing an alignment for our meeting yesterday, and a bird flapped its wings on my window, and I know that means go look at the cardinal points, because the cardinal points will show you. That's why you have cardinals in the Vatican, because they used to be able to see. They used to understand astrology and understand that, right? So there was Juno, and Juno represents Mary Magdalene, who's exactly on the midheaven. So I said, okay, let me go look. And then I missed that when the sun goes on October 17th, when the sun meets Mary and she's moving and the sun is aligned Spica. So that's the celestial fall. And that's the fall of Babylon, that whole event. I missed Juno being aligned with Regulus. Juno is Mary Magdalene. Both Eris and Juno both present themselves to me in the sky as the winged woman, like all the artwork around the world. So you are all chosen. And as soon as you grasp this revelation that you are the chosen one, things will start lighting up for you. You are chosen. It's your world. It's not mine. Everything that I share is not mine. It's ours. It's the universe. It's the all.
Thanks, Claudia.
I have some stuff that might really segue into what he was sharing there. That's amazing. He talked about Mary Magdalene. My friend Raymond Keller, who lived on Venus for 2.5 months, a fellow contactee who actually arranged with the head of the Galactic Confederation of Light, the Queen of Venus. It's a matriarchal society. A meeting with a moon-based commander, Clarion, Commander Aura Reigns, which I videotaped. That's the image I can't show anymore. I can share the talks. I can share the sound recording, but he was given the breastplate of Aaron and the Urim and Thummim stones by the security chief Alon, who is very famous in contactees from the 50s at Giant Rock. The first contactees openly to in modern day era. They've never left. They've been here for thousands of years and watching over us, and we've had interaction, as I'm sure all of you know. But they're in charge of the Earth's protocols for every race that comes here must go through the local Galactic Confederation of Light, and they do not want to interfere. This is why they're remaining behind the scenes. But to give the good news, all the clearing is being done right now by the Galactics. I'll very briefly state what happened in Israel recently. And this is the good news. I don't want to focus on the negativity, but the bad guys were desperate to start World War III. They are still trying very hard, but the Galactics grounded all the aircraft. None of those bombs came from the sky. They took out those jets with missiles. It didn't happen, so they called an American naval ship, which launched some rockets into Israel, actually. And they took out the electrical on that boat. It was adrift for a period of time. And so they had to resort to imploded demolition, like 9/11, and they also did some rocket launchers. So this is the activity that's taking place behind the scenes with what we call ground command. This is hidden to the public. Most people aren't going to be able to understand it. This is a woman who's in charge of the global financial system, and this relates to this prophecy. And I'm going to share this as a post from a friend of mine named Nick Avalier. He does a lot of videos, and not everything he does is, I would say accurate, but he's very prolific. And he has a video of this guy, and I'm going to play this right now. It's about the prophecy in Revelations. So, and I'm going to explain about it. So I'm going to see if I can bring this up here and get this to share on the screen, if you can all see it, but at least you'll be able to hear it. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up here.
Check this out. Do we see Bible prophecy playing out right in front of our eyes? The Virgo constellation, as of September 18th to the 23rd, has the sun at her shoulder on her clothing and the moon at her feet. Check out Revelation chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. The Virgo constellation also has the 12 Virginie stars right above her head, forming a crown. Now let's look at verse 2. And she, being with child, cried, traveling in birth and pain to be delivered. Now check this out. An asteroid named Yeshua went up to Virgo's belly 9 months ago and connected the same location and same time with the moon. And now 9 months later, we have the asteroid called the Child that is sitting inside of Virgo's belly, about to come out right between the 18th to the 23rd. And also look at the number that the astronomers gave to the child. The number is 4580. Add 45 plus 80, that equals 125. Revelation chapter 12, verse 5, 125. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. I have so much more information to show you on this. So many signs all over.
Okay, so sorry, let me pull that off. So I want to talk about that. So Kim Gogan, in this position as the office of the guardian, and I'm going to let you research this on your own. There is you are allowed to watch her videos for free. It's quite complex, but she is been given this position based on her DNA. She is in charge of what is called the quantum system. It used to be in control of some fallen beings. We would call him Marduk. They stopped a war here a long time ago, and unfortunately, they corrupted some of the interior administration of the planet in the heavenly realms. This planet has other dimensions and other beings that are supposed to guide and have a balance in life, and they corrupted some of the administrators. This is a complex subject, but that has been changed now with the covenants expiring. So in 2012, that date that everyone thought everything was going to be happening, I was saying, no, nothing's going to change. That is the birth or the sunlight, the beginning of the return of the light. And we're still in this. And so we're going to go through some severe changes. The Venusians have mentioned this. If you go to my website, I have a lot of direct messages directly hand delivered. These are not channeled information. This is hand delivered. I ask questions to my friend Raymond Keller via writing, and he hands them to the security chief, and he telepathically communicates with Valiant Thor, Commander Rains, the Queen of Venus, and he answers some of my questions. So he gave Raymond Keller the breastplate of Aaron, and he could look at any script that he wanted to. This breastplate was used during the Ark of the Covenant, and they would put up a tent around it, and the priest would stand behind Moses' son Aaron, and they would ask a question, and he would be wearing two crystals. They're called the Urim and the Thummim, known as the seer and the interpreter. And he would look and the letters of the religion of the whatever the ancient letters were that he could read, and they would answer the questions. In this way, the hierarchy of light hiding behind the scenes would, kind of like Wizard of Oz, provide answers and guidance for the traverse across the desert. And so Raymond Keller was given these same stones that were used by Joseph Smith. Now, Joseph Smith, you know, he had his mission for like 20 years and he died. He was killed probably by his own people. His ideas were very revolutionary, but he was given by the angel Moroni. For those of you who don't know this story, he was 20 years old, and an angel came and sat at his bed and, hey, you should get up there. I want you to go out in the field next to a tree in a rock. You're going to take a couple paces and you're going to dig down. And he didn't do it. The first day he got up and go, wow, that was a weird dream. But the angel was there manifesting right in front of him. The second time he says, hey, you got to get up and do it. And he took a little more effort on the second time, and he went looking out and he couldn't really find or follow it. He wasn't really that vested in it. And then the third time the angel kind of came around, he slapped him around and goes, hey, get up, go and dig in this position. So he followed the instructions and he found a box with golden plates and a pair of spectacles, glasses, and these two stones and the breastplate of Aaron. And the angel explained for him how to use that. That's not told, Raymond. I know a little bit about how it's done, but he's given a certain protocol. And what he would do when wearing these two stones and wearing the glasses, he would put his hands over, he'd take his hands and run them over the plate, and he could see, look into the past of what the impressions, they were on gold plates in cuneiform writing, what was written, what was intended in the person's thought. And he could go back in time and see the incident that was taking place. So the Mormon Bible is an alternative testimony, but there's a lot of begats. It's kind of the history of the fall of the Cain and the Abel line and all that. So Raymond Keller was given these, and he chose the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Acts of Thomas, and the Youth Gospel of Jesus Christ. And I'm not going to say anything other than it's on my website. You can read. This is the most accurate gospel because it was written like yesterday. Raymond, if you see under my book section, he's written 8 books on Venus as a Venusian historian, because he was taken in 2012, December 21st. He was taken to Venus with about 5,000 resident Venusians on missions on the earth, living, having families, and taking their guests to witness the previous queen of Venus's ascension. And in that activity up there, after the ascension party, they announced the new queen was sitting right next to Raymond, and her name was Lady Orda. So that is the woman who I have voice recorded messages of, and they're on my website, and I play them in a lot of talks. So this Gospel of Thomas, and I'm going to tell a couple things that are important, and this is to give you faith and hope and to understand the truth. This is some of the stuff here. I don't want it to be fear-based, but I want you to know that good things are coming. So in the Gospel of Thomas, it's revealed that Thomas was Jesus's twin brother. He was known as Didymus the twin. This is a groundbreaking. Some people know this, some people don't. Also, he was married to Mary Magdalene. And so I asked Alon, the security chief, and I said, so how did they manage to keep the divine feminine, the fact that Jesus was married and he had a twin brother, out of the Bible? And he said, Rob, in the Lateran Council in 1159, the Vatican, or the church, was trying to get all of the pastors, the followers of Christ, to bequeath their churches to the Vatican so that they would own them after they died. It was really a Vatican land grab to control the priest and to control the information coming out from these various individual churches that were inspired by the Holy Spirit to reveal the message of Christ, which is very important. It's that we are God. we are living in a false belief of material senses. The image of God that we have projected in this entropic universe is not really who we are. We are a soul, an infinite light, and everything is perfect. And if we can focus on the perfected being of the one, the all, there is no death. We are eternal beings. So this is a very positive message. Also, Mary's gospel in the book, I don't want to go into that very much here, but would be going to suggest you strongly read this. He talks about the default of Adam as a cause of mankind's suffering, and this goes into the Sumerian, Enki, Enlil, a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of information about these ancient prophecies. So when we talk about, in Revelations, when there will be no more tears, this is when the individual ascends to the higher dimensions. So anyone can ascend to the higher dimensions in the realms of ascension, as I showed you the two pictures of those beautiful women from Venus now, dual citizens. They both have activities and are working on the earth. And they work behind the scenes in military finance, education. They work with artists, political leaders as much as they can. They're involved in military, and they're counteracting behind the scenes these dark plans. And we're coming to a head now where the bad guys are almost completely removed. This is in terms of the Greys, the Calrans, the Omegans, some of these negative beings, the Dracos, and these are mostly gone now. And so we don't realize it. Many people are just waking up. There was a woman here who said she's new. So all this stuff you're hearing, the chemtrails, all of that is true. But we have to know that that is ending, that the galactic forces have that well under control. I complained to them several times. I said, why don't you do more activities for us? Why don't you interfere a little more? And they said, don't obsess on the darkness, Rob. They said, we have that well under control. We couldn't do anything against these guys. Their technology was too powerful. With ground command, the human representative based on her DNA has been handed over control of the world's financial system. This is why the governments are broke. In the past, all money was given by Marduk until 2012. And they hoodwinked her before she knew what her position was, and responsibility was to give 10 years of money. So in 2022, and even before, they ran out of money. They were using black magic money stuff, creating false bonds, and she stopped all that. She has taken down portals and crystals and sacred sites that were used with high technology machines, interdimensional portals, crystals, cornerstones, alignments. This is why they say Trump is coming back at some new moon or full moon, or they promise all of these earthly puppets into positions of politicians. They are not the leaders. Above them is a dark elite nobility, and above them used to be a group called the parents, the hybrid humans of the Anunnaki and the Dracos. This is how they skirted galactic law, by creating a race of humans that they would empower. And they created a money system and a military system. Every war is created falsely, including this last one. This is a theater of war. They meet in secret locations and they decide. They decided when they found out there's life on Venus, and I'm going to be revealing this at the Stairway to the Stars in Las Vegas. It's on my website, but I have a video, and you hear John Lear talking about the importance of Venus, that there's life there and all of this. And the governments decided to get together and create a fake Cold War. The Russians and the Americans, the British intelligence, they all work for this secret group. It's been known as the Black Sun or the Dragons, and they have various appointed leaders. Hitler was Brown Eagle. Black Eagle was George Bush Sr., who was from Germany. So many things that we don't realize. So this light is coming to the light now. So another thing that's taking place is God's spirit. The spirit of Christ is returning and pouring its frequency on all flesh. We are going to rise into the light. We'll recognize ourselves as immortal beings, and we will move through this. However, this transition is dependent upon who? It's not on Trump. It's not on any white hats. It's not on Kim Gogan. The responsibility lies with the individual to raise your consciousness into that marvelous light of the one being. And Valiant Thor is very much, Christ actually appears on his ship. He appointed Valiant Thor in charge, and the accidental apostle who died with him on the cross, who the Venusians called Lord Dismas, some of us call the Ascended Master Moria, is the regent of Venus. And Raymond Keller, my friend, had met him. And I said, wow, you met an Ascended Master. We said wonderment and awe. He had light around him. And he asked him, he said, can I look at the Akashic records? So there's a technology on Venus where they're able to look at the Akashic records. These are stored beneath the ice sheet on Uranus. So there's tremendous activity. Many of the moons and most of the planets have life of various forms, not that we would know it. There are also 60 planets in our solar system. So this wondrous information, this positive realization of our place in the universe is being shared with us. So I want to share one more thing here, and this is a caveat of a little bit of negativity, but I want you to be prepared. And the Venusians have mentioned that we are going through a hydrogen cloud. Sheldon Neidl called it the photon belt. Corey Good had talked about it as activating stuff. And what it is doing, it's 55 million miles long. And this hydrogen cloud is superheating the atmosphere outside our atmosphere all the way out to Pluto. It's 10,000 degrees and it's normally absolute zero. The ice caps on Uranus are melting. It is called solar warming. It's not global warming. It's not to be a deep state control of everything you do. This is a reality, and this is going to bring about some changes. As the solar flares come, the micronova, which we at Prepare for Change call the event, there is going to be a micronova that's going to do a lot of activity. It's uplifting our DNA. It's breaking down. People are getting crazy. People are getting headaches. People are getting lethargic as these old systems of control fall away. So this is a good thing. Now, we are going to face challenges in 2029, and I'm going to end it with this, but I don't want this to be negative. There is an asteroid coming between the Earth and the Moon. It's going to be called Aporthos. It's called Aporthos. I don't know if the government is aware exactly that it's coming yet, but the Venusians have told me it's coming. They will not interfere. So this is going to cause tidal surges and earthquakes. So this roller coaster ride will be served best if mankind can step into the light and with cooperation, with compassion, truth, and serving each other. So that's the positive news, and a little behind the scenes look. And if you read the Gospel of Thomas and some of these other informations from the Venusians, all of their information is based on the individual's spiritual development and not focusing on negativity. I'm sorry that was a little long, but there's a lot of people. I just wanted to get that all out. Thank you so very much, Kat, for having me here.
Muted, Kat.
You're muted, Kat. You're muted.
Okay, that's a lot to digest, Rob, and thank you for that information. And there are people that have questions now, starting with Dave. But could you clarify the name of the book that I bought from Raymond? Was that called The Gospel of Thomas?
It's called it's on my website. It's called The Gospel of Thomas.
I was looking for it, couldn't find it, and I didn't want to get up and go grab my copy to show. So.
Yeah, I mean, I could. I guess I could show it. Yeah, so the Gospel of Thomas is written. There are other Gospels of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and this is a very, I'll just say it's a very positive book on this. So here's I'll just go to the website real quick.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had an
Okay.
actual book cover yet, because I have a,
Yeah, you have one of the original early birds. So I'm going to try and share it here. I've got this. I got a lot of stuff open here. So
hey, while you're looking, can Dave ask his question? Would you mind?
yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, sure. I was just actually wanting to see if Lois Herman, looking at the work she does, and
Kim Gogan, is that what you said?
I was talking about, I was wanting to hear from Lois Herman,
Oh, I'm
work
sorry.
she does helping people deal with the darker forces, if she's just seen any higher level, patterns, or if there's any change in recent months, that gives some indication of whole battle versus dark versus light, that kind of thing. I just want to hear from other people too.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Yes, I've been assisting with the removal of reptilians by the thousands for probably 30 years. And what we have discovered over the past year or two, there are fewer reptilians. They still are around. There are pockets of them hiding. We are finding them deeper into the earth that we are uncovering. And I say I work with a team, the Archangel teams, and my own team. I now, because of not only the reptilians, we also work with commanders from the Galactics. So there's quite a team of us that are doing this work. What we have discovered is much of the issue that's going on right now is not so much from the reptilians. They've been somewhat neutered, shall we say, because we've rescued small grays. The small grays would do the bidding of the reptilians. The reptilians could not handle the light worker energy. The light from the human is weak. It's like kryptonite to the reptilians. So they would use intermediaries, either hybrids that they had created or small grays, to do the interference, planting devices inside of humans and doing other things to really not intending to kill the humans, just to diminish their energy. Because again, the light workers all have incredible gifts that have been taken down because of devices that were typically placed and monitored by the small grays, but they have now been rescued. So we're finding some hybrid reptilians that are still doing some work, and the tall grays are also pretty much gone. I agree with Bob that they're gone. But what we're finding now is a lot of sorcery, and that is what's happening, is removing the sorcery, the curses. That's a different energy. This is from earth energy. This is the satanic stuff, the rituals. This sort of stuff is very real, and that's what we're dealing with now. If you look at our music, our videos, so many of the Hollywood, these people that are, halftime show on the Super Bowl. This is satanic ritual stuff that the average person is not aware of. And that is what's happening, is a lot of the energy that's being sent out is being sent out in the form of curses. And those of us that are of the light, if we're not well protected, we come under attack. We've had a lot of spies and people talk about remote viewing. Remote viewing, to me, that's a peeping Tom. Don't come into my energy and view me unless I've asked you in. And so these people who have been trained to do remote viewing are looking in order to cause harm. That's the other reason for light workers to protect themselves. One is from the rogue lost souls that are simply looking for the light, and they're not intending to harm. But there are others who absolutely are intending harm. That is part of their soul contract with the shadow side. And that's what we're dealing with more now than the extraterrestrial work. We're working with the extraterrestrials. We're also rescuing a lot of interdimensionals. We're rescuing dragons. We're rescuing the fairies. We're rescuing unicorns, believe it or not, that have been under spells and captive for years. So my story gets a little bit more into that science fiction range. But we're rescuing the Mother Gaian energy and working with her to reclaim this beautiful planet that is her energy. And they are doing a lot of the work now against the sorcerers. That's what we have to be careful of, is the sorcery. And they are getting weaker and weaker as well, because a lot of their heads have been taken out. But if the head is not there coordinating, the minions are backed against the wall, and they are doing a lot of sorcery. So these, what we consider holy days, the solstices, the equinoxes, those days are also there. They have hijacked them. That's oftentimes when they will do the rituals. A lot of what we do is we rescue a lot of the souls that have been used in rituals in order to reverse the curses. So we do a lot of very strange and unusual things. So we're not in the home clear yet. What we do see when we do our journeys into the future, we do see a beautiful land that is filled with the most glorious, peaceful people and animals and trees and nature. Everything is lush and beautiful, and it is not too far in our distant future. But right now, we still have work to do to protect the light workers, because again, we're the ones, not many of the average person, they're not the ones with the implants and devices. It is the light workers, because we have meeting these amazing Arcturian and Lemurian and Pleiadian beings walking among us. My theory is the aliens are among us and we are they. So we all have our amazing gifts that have been diminished in some way. So when my team has been removing the devices by the thousands for the light workers, so that we all can use our gifts, because as we're all doing what we're called to do, we are going to work collectively together to rescue our beautiful planet. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Lois. I love the positive spin. And what you guys don't know is none of us knew what we were going to be talking about. And I just completed an article today. Everything, even some of the stuff Rob Potter's been saying, is in my article in one form or another. And I think it's important to realize when you have this many people having a shared consciousness, it means something big is about to happen. And I agree, Lois. I think we're at that precipice. We're about to fly. So with that, Claudia, you've had your hand up.
Awesome, Lois. Commend you for what you do. It's so awesome that you're there for people when they're feeling these energies. I do have to say this with from experience, though. We have to ask ourselves this question. I mean, we got all kinds of words for these energies, right? Reptilians, aliens, not good souls, and all those sorts of things. But we have to ask ourselves this question: is it possible? And I'm going to give you proof of what I say. Is it possible that energy comes from you in a past life, and it's not a reptile, it's not an alien, it's only you and your past, and it's your vibration? The reason why I'm asking you to ask that question is because when I get even healers calling me and saying I can't heal myself, and I go look at their chart and that vibration is in their chart, so it's you. So you're still going to heal people. It doesn't matter what we're calling it. So it's beautiful what you do. But I'm saying to you with the utmost certainty that it's in your chart. So when somebody is going through an exorcist, it's in their chart. It's their own vibration they left behind. We live in this perfect system that you can't get away with anything. So when you leave the visible, when you come back, those vibrations are waiting for you. So it's a lot easier to understand and grasp when you know and understand these vibrations. Because here's the thing. People go to healers, they help them through that vibration. And when that alignment comes back, they experience it again. And until they know how to release it themselves, and the only way to release it is the revelation that it is theirs. It's mine. It's nobody else's. Nobody else is doing it to me. It's my vibration. I've had people where they've done things, whether it's a man to a woman or woman to a man, and I know that they've come back as the reverse. They're now that man or that woman feeling exactly what they did to others, and they're having. So that's the eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and it's in their chart. I show people on our website, I'm sorry, on our YouTube, exactly. I've shown people that I just go and look for the person that has things done to them the most, from getting hit by lightning to shingles. Shingles isn't a virus. There's no such thing as a virus. Virus is a process. It's a vibration to cleanse your waters. And Revelation 12:1, like Bob talked about, it happened. It's a 558-year cycle. It's the phoenix rising. That's why we were able to tell everybody, get ready, we're going to be cleansed. And these vibrations are hitting us hard. But the revelation has to be that you own it. It's you. It's nobody else. And people will heal you, like Lois and all the other healers. They will help you. But if you don't change your ways, if you don't realize that it was you, then it will just keep coming back. You don't need astrology. The person that comes into your life, or this energy that's hitting you. I did a little girl's chart who, she's in her teens, and she was having flesh-eating disease. There's no such thing as flesh-eating disease. It was Neptune. Neptune does lightning strikes. Neptune does pain. So I looked at her chart, and I immediately called her dad, and I said, okay, one of you, whether it was your daughter, you, or your wife, has a very deep-rooted energy, somebody that you have not forgiven in your life. And he said, that would be me with my mother. I said, well, she's wearing that for you, because in essence, she's wearing that DNA chain, that vibration that you guys haven't released. So until you forgive your mother, she's going to have that energy going right through her. And I can see it clear as day. I did another lady's chart who I seen right away when I looked at her chart. I said, how's your mother? And she went off that she doesn't love her mother. I says, until you get over that. But everything that she's done to me, I says, because you did it to her in a previous life, you're wearing it. And it's in her chart. She kept getting physical things happen to her, and that's Juno. That's Mary Magdalene. So Mary Magdalene is the earthen mother. So Juno will be there, and she does very, very, very physical things. So every time a physical thing happened to her, it was in her chart. And finally, when she realized that it's her vibration coming back to find her, she stopped and she listened to what I said. And then she went and reached out to her mother, and she asked her mother for forgiveness. That threw her mother right off. They got back together, they bonded. She's about to go see her. She's walking down the street, and as she's about to step into the street, 7 people yelled to her to stop. If she would have took one more step, she would have stepped on the street and a bus went right by. And that was in her chart. So all these things are in our chart. And until we release that non-loving act that we've done before, it will come back to find us. And God bless you for energy workers, energy healers. But we also have to find out why it's happening. And it's because of us. It comes back to find us. It's the perfect system to have this experience as a human as a spirit having a human experience. We will keep cleansing them and cleansing them and cleansing them until they get the revelation that it's theirs and they need to find.
May I address that? I absolutely agree with you, Claudio. I don't consider myself a healer. I consider myself a healing facilitator. It is up to the person to do their own healing. And many people we cannot help, we cannot rescue, because they're still calling that energy. They are not prepared for forgiveness. Forgiveness work is huge in this. We do a lot of ancestral clearing that goes back so many generations of people that have been tortured or lost their lands. There's a lot of sadness that gets traversed over the eons. And then the living person is carrying that memory in them and around them. So yes, each individual must do their own healing work. It is not up to the healing
facilitator. If you can tell them it's because of you, which is the ego won't let them. And here's the reason why. Because the ego is nothing more than the memories we've left behind in the water. It's the Akashic record. So it wants to drag you through those thorns because we've did it to somebody else. But how to get yourself out of that dragging mode is to realize that it was you. Wouldn't it be the best? Wouldn't nobody be able to get away with anything? And that's what's happening. And the elite, or whatever we call them, that's just mass karma. I did people that when there's a war, There's no war. There's people that are mass leaving the visible, and it's in their chart. Everyone that leaves the visible, I can show you that it's in their chart. You can't say, when am I going? Because it depends on your free will. It depends on what you've cleaned, what you've cleared, and the revelation that you are the one that creates your whole world here, nobody else. So now we get to be brave. You're infinite. You can't escape your own karma. I don't lock my doors anymore because I've cleared everything. Every image that comes to me, I ask for forgiveness because it was me. I created that episode for that person to come and give me that karma. When you have that revelation, it's over. Your whole world starts changing. Now you understand it. It's a perfect game. It's me. It's nobody else but me that left those vibrations behind. And like I said, I mean, well, I'm not sure the right words to use, but whatever you're doing is beautiful because you are, in essence, helping them. But the last step is that they have to have the revelation that it's them.
It's again, there's many different paths. There's many different paths. We work with people who have been MK Ultra'd, where it is they have devices and mindsets that are placed in their mind over and over and over, and it is challenging for them to have to reverse that the mental images that get placed over and over, and it takes an incredible amount of courage to shift that mind talk. And for some of these amazing people who have had devices put in them that have created the image that created an image that whenever they would get around somebody else, the people would be mean to them. So it's interesting. Once these devices have been cleared and the memories have been reset, rebooted to I am pure love, I am worthy of attracting love, it does shift. It just takes work. It takes determination. It's not an overnight fix. It takes the courage to look at self and to make those changes. Absolutely.
Right. They got to be Johnny at the blackboard. I will always be nice to Susie. If Susie was not nice to you, you got to say, I will always be nice to Susie. Wait a minute, Susie's doing it to me. No. You don't understand. The reason why Susie's doing it to you is because you did it before. So like you said, they got to repaint in their mind that beautiful, loving images because it's your world. And that is the noise canceling headphones. Those vibrations we've left behind, you got to send loving waves to cancel those waves, and then you're cleared. And that's what you're doing. You're giving those loving waves and you're helping them. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Both of you, thank you for bringing up the importance of forgiveness and rising above spiritually. Because that's the only way we're going to get through it. And bravery is a higher frequency too, to be able to
courage.
To step into courage and being forgiving, it's okay. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. And then it's over.
And I don't want to be a broken record, because I just want to make sure people understand that forgiving others doesn't work.
No.
You got to forgive you first, because you are the one that started the wave, and now it's the Hatfields and the McCoys. Because people are saying, I've forgiven everybody. I did exactly what you said. I said, no. I said, you got to forgive you first. And until they do that step, then their whole world changes. I've had people forgive people for doing things for them, their brother or whatever. And the next day, the brother calls because all they did was think on that going, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I never realized that whatever I've done that to you. Please forgive me. The brother calls and wants to make up.
That is so awesome. Hey, I'd like to get to Bob Davis's comment or questions.
Thank you, Kat. Very interesting discussion on many levels. I was a member of the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Research Foundation for extraordinary experiences and extraterrestrial experiences, and we did a survey of over 3,200 individuals who claimed to interact with either the UFOs and or non-human entities. What we found was quite interesting. We eventually had it published in the Journal of Scientific Exploration, but the point is that many participants talk about much of what you're saying. The interaction with non-human entities, of course, the grays obviously are the most commonly reported, followed by human-looking light beings, energy beings, obviously the reptilians, etc., in less percent, but they are noted. Question is, obviously, are they coming from a structured craft far away, or always here, along the lines you're talking about? who and what are they? But they do report messages that you're also sharing. Love, interconnectedness, no time, no space, non-3D reality. These people, when they report being so-called abducted, I hate the term, but when they leave their body, similar to OBEs in real life or NDEs, spiritual awakenings, etc., they have similar types of perceptual experiences that facilitate it. Could even be meditation, psychoactive drugs. It all gets to the same, to some extent, and in many, not all, gets to the same outcome, interaction with non-human entities and transformative outcomes as a result of that experience. Generally positive in ways that you're all familiar with, but can be negative, depending upon a variety of reasons, of course. So the question is, are we talking the same thing? You know, are we accessing the same beings in my study and in yours, in your own personal ways in which you do? And I'd like to know, how do you do what you do in terms of interacting with these beings? How do we access that realm as far as you're concerned? And so how do I get there? And also, how do I forgive myself? Can I do that today at 3 o'clock? I'll forgive myself and that's it. Just say it. You know, there's more to it than that, right? There's more to it than just the words. How do you do that?
Okay, can I? I'm not sure if you're asking Lois or me, so I don't want to.
Well, anyone.
Okay, so the act is like this. You feel a vibration that's not beautiful. You accept that it's yours. You forgive yourself. You give gratitude to the vibration for showing you that there's something I need to change. There's muddy waters in my being, because if your waters were pure, you wouldn't have felt the energy. It becomes invigorating now. It switches from cleansing to invigorating. That's the Dr. Emoto stuff. So 1, forgive yourself. 2, give gratitude for the guidance. 3, forgive the deliverer. 4, repaint it the way it should be. If somebody came up to me and yelled and screamed at me, I went through that process. Now I close my eyes and imagine them coming up to me. How are you doing? Oh, wow, you have such a beautiful aura about you. I just wanted to say hello. So now, and then you feel it like you're Michael Jordan. Every sports person will be able to tell you that they see the whole shot go through before they actually take the shot. They feel it go in, they celebrate it, and then they take the shot and then it goes in. So you do that process. Now, if it's a really, really deep-rooted one, that image is going to keep coming back. You just keep repainting it, repainting it, and then it goes away. And now you can just feel it from a distance. Now you'll know when you're doing it good, because somebody will yell at another person in a distance, but you're still witnessing it. So now it's getting further away from you. It's no longer becomes yours, but you have to now say, oh, no, this is my world. I'm now going to visualize those two having that conversation. I have a great aura about you, and they have that. So now now you're just helping their world in your world, because you're still seeing it. So it's moving away from you. So when these vibrations get further and further away from you, you know you're doing the right forgiveness procedure. So yes, you can do it at any moment and it works instantaneous, but you got to mean it. You got to love it. You got to own it. So everybody's saying the same thing, but I just want to make sure we get that one little thing in there, that we own these vibrations. Nobody's doing it to us. There is somebody doing it, but they got to realize the act of delivering that karma is just going to bring it back to them. Right.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
Is it
and
a being
Lois,
of the
I
past?
guess
Yeah,
my
and
other question, Lois, was directed to you.
Yeah, sure. And I agree that what Claudia was talking about is a classic hypnosis technique to replay it and reverse it. Hypnosis and NLP make it farther and farther away, smaller and smaller and smaller, in order to reduce the impact of the triggers that cause us to react. So to answer your question about, for instance, the reptilians, the ones we encounter are in other dimensions. They are not physical beings in my office. We are tapping into the interdimensional beings. Many of them are coming through portals. So the archangels do the battle. I'm just the shipping department. And one of the things that the archangels, Archangel Michael, will say, we don't even judge them, because there have been some of them that have found light within them. We have to always come from a place of non-judgment and just recognize that these beings think that they're here to feed off of the humans, just like we feed off of, Claudia was talking about being vegan, just like we many of us that are still eating meat, we're feeding off of. They are here and they look at the humans as basically an opportunity for feeding off of energy. So they don't think that they're doing anything wrong. They're just here in order to create that conquest. So because they're cohabiting this planet with us. Unfortunately, because they're feeding on the energy, it lowers. And you're talking about, Pat, you're referring to the energetic, the map of consciousness from David Hawkins. Then when we've got that down into that lower fear level, that's where they tend to feed. They're repelled more by the higher vibration. So if we can keep our vibration up high and protected, we can, and again, coming from a place of non-judgment, which is critical, because even these ones that are doing harm have an opportunity to turn around. It is not for us to judge. It's way beyond my pay grade. Each soul has an opportunity to change their path at any given time, because this is a free will planet. I don't care whether it's a reptilian, a gray, a small gray, a dragon. We've seen dragons turn around because they were captive and caused to create harm, because that's what they were trained to do. Once they were invited to look within for a glimmer of light and invited to be able to change their path, lo and behold, they become glistening and magical dragons. Is this a metaphor? I don't know. If that is not for me to judge. I am not here to say these are absolutes. This is what we are experiencing. And then the client, the person, feels tremendously better. To me, the proof is in the energy, the end result of the person and how they feel after the energies have been shifted around them. Then the person feels energetically better. Now their energy is up a little bit higher on that scale. You can't go from fear to joy like that. It's an incremental process. So as you lift those bogging energies and you come up a little bit higher to what Kat was talking about, that level of courage, now you have the opportunity to truly look at something with, and you're stronger, you're able to really delve into it a little bit more. So it's all about incremental, and each one of you has a role to play. Whether you're doing Reiki, whether you're sending prayers, the power of prayer is incredible. It's vibrational energy. So as we each do what we're called to do, and that works in our hearts, no one is better than another. Everyone knows in their heart what their path is. And if it feels right, and if the intention is pure, then do it, because it will make a difference. And it will, even if it's an incremental small shift, the person will then continue on their path to create their own change towards ascension.
This is such a beautiful and stimulating conversation. I love your comments and questions. And for Bob and you, Lois, for me, when I'm doing my healing, it's getting into the highest range I can get emotionally, the love and the gratitude. And that's where the magic happens. And you're talking about the transformation, even of the dragon. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, yeah.
Transform people. And making them stay in those clear waters may be the harder part, but at least we can show them what it feels like with the work that we do, and get a little relief or get some clarity and then move forward. Speaking of moving forward, Jeffries, I know he's at work, so I'd like to let him talk here.
Yeah, wow, it's fascinating. Can you hear me okay, Kat?
Great. 5 by
Okay,
5.
great. Yeah, so I just see so many awesome points being brought up, and it's kind of hard after all the discussion to even think of it. But anything, what I'd like to talk about is that, the idea of, a past life karma with somebody can show up, and we alternate the roles as the aggressor and the victim. And what I've found is that we can often find in a normal past life regression that you find one experience. And what happens is that may be one experience in a pattern of experiences. So it's important, if you can, to go back to the source point of it, because that's where you can really nail that karmic pattern and really gain relief. So I've noticed that some people really feel lighter after they discover that karmic experience with somebody. The other thing is it's not always like that. And there can be a lot of reasons why you have an experience. The catalyst is showing up. Sometimes people choose to be the victim to teach somebody else how to be an aggressor, believe it or not. And I've seen that more than once. But it is a pattern. We have to go back to the source point of where that vibration started. And, this is a great tool for forgiveness. When we can look at a situation, for instance, somebody has wronged us, we might say, well, how did I wrong them in the past life, right? It's kind of easy to think, well, if I put myself in their shoes, how does it make me feel now, right? Often it's very much easier to forgive somebody. And, forgiveness, it's not like you can tell a smoker to stop smoking or a drinker to stop drinking. Oftentimes, we have to go through a process. And that process may be, looking at the idea of, okay, was I an aggressor in a past life? Did I do it to them? So I think it's great to go through processes, but there's more than one processes. That's only one technique to achieve that forgiveness. I believe there's many other things we can do. And certainly Claudia's brought up a great point, and it's really sort of foundational. It's just about going for the vibration. And then, also we can go and reframe it by, as Lois said, visualize it drifting away, turning black and white, moving out of focus, and then focus on something else. Ultimately, that's what will help us to forgive, is to just simply focus. And when we talk about don't think about something, don't focus, don't think of a pink elephant right now. So what's the best way to not think of a pink elephant, right? To think of a blue rabbit. Okay. So you got to just simply change your focus. That's the way to not think about something else. And that's kind of what I wanted to offer, is that, we're all here interested in healing and finding ways to heal. And, we need as many healers as there are people, because everybody has a different experience in life and everybody relates to somebody different. There's plenty of people come to me because they relate to me. I have so many people that say, Jeffrey, I really like your profile. I really like who you are. You're this engineer guy. But then there's plenty of people who look at me and run for their lives. That's fine. And thank God they do, because the last thing I want to do is sit with somebody and have them have a terrible experience, So, it's really great that we're all here and this is coming to the surface. There's a lot of awareness of the healing that's available to us. It's more and more around us. And, people are coming to us saying, hey, Jeffrey, that stuff you were talking about, I want to hear more about it, because I think you were right. All of us are having this experience now, and it's just wonderful. So, rather than just beating them over the head, say, see, I told you so. We got to just say, why do you think you felt that way before? What led you to believe this other, baloney? So, and that's all I want to say. But thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey. Because you weren't here at the beginning, we went around the room and have everybody introduce themselves and where they are. Would you mind doing just that quick little bit? Because there are some new people in here today.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah. So I've, been a fan of Prepare for Change for many years. And, in the past, I guess, 5 years, I've been practicing various healing modalities, starting with life coaching, Reiki, and this wonderful modality called Access Consciousness, which is amazing about activating the quantum field just with questions, certain ways of touching the body that can activate and release vibrations from the body. And then it led me to QHHT, which is Dolores Cannon's method, and absolutely amazing. It's a direct beeline to the subconscious. And that's really where I've been for quite some time now. So it really is very expansive. I don't think we do this for be getting paid. We do this for the expansion, right? It's like, why does a musician, a true artist, want to play his instrument? It's, usually it's not, a lot of times he has to survive and he has to eat, but they just want to play. And I think that's why we do this, because we really want to, expand and offer the healing. So that's it.
Thanks, Jeffrey. And you're in the Bronx? No, you're in
Boston.
Boston. Jeffrey from Boston. Thanks. And by the way, his sessions are outstanding. I learned some interesting things about myself. And he's even done some of the sessions over the internet with a group, which is also fascinating. And I can tell you that all of us had some really interesting information come forward. So I appreciate for what you do. I appreciate that effort that you do and the articles that you write for Prepare for Change too, to talk about it. So thank you very much. And Claudio, I see you have your hand back up.
Yeah, just really quickly. Like when Bob said that they did a study of 3,200, like for me, when you do that study, I would love to have the 3,200 with their dates of birth and time of birth to see the commonality there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm offering up a tool for anybody has somebody that they're having a not easy time of help clearing these energies. I'm saying that I have a tool that I can help assist and say where the focus is at, because it does prove out to be real. I've done many charts, and like I said, I've done from people leaving the visible because of promiscuity. I did AIDS people versus promiscuous people, straight people. Okay, gay people and straight people, and they both leave the visible because of promiscuity. So there's no such thing as an AIDS virus, because the other people didn't die of AIDS, but they died of promiscuity. It's in their chart. So again, whenever there's something that is somebody that has, I got this, I got that, I got this, I just go look for the person when if I haven't learned that alignment yet, I just go look online and find out who had this the most happen to them, and then boom, there it is. So, and most of the time I'm guided to it. So I'm just offering up. I don't charge anything for it. So it's something that a person, if you had somebody tough to figure out, I'd be more than happy to help out.
Claudio, that's wonderful, a wonderful gift that you're offering everyone. I've already had people asking if you do charts. So is it okay to share your email or whichever method you would like people to contact you if they'd like their chart done? And then they have to schedule time with you to help you explain what's in there. Because I've done a little bit of astrology, but I need you to walk me through it every time. And it's been great that you can do that for others. And I love that you're doing it as a gift. So please post if the best way for them to contact you if they'd like to have.
Yeah, okay. I'll put my email there, and then I just need your date of birth, time of birth, city born, and city currently living. Why I need the city currently living is because if there's something that happens that's really quick, it's in your chart. It's there. That's the cardinal points.
Thanks, Claudio.
So I'll just put my email there, and if you can give me those 4 things, that would be awesome.
Okay. And Bob, I saw that you had your hand up. Did you change your mind?
Oh, I was just going to ask Claudio, what's the benefit of the information I may receive from your reading? How does it help me?
Okay, so if you want to look at your life purpose, it's in there. If you want to look, see why do I have this thing keep happening to me? Why are these energies hitting me? They're keys. Like I said, I've done it many times, and it's so easy to spot people that don't get along with their mother.
So it gives me a heads up, but what I do with it is something else. You wake me up.
That's right, because it's your world. It's your world. Some people kept refusing to forgive their mother, and until they finally did, their whole life changed. They're not even reaching out anymore. Everything's beautiful. They send pictures once in a while, and off they sail. And that's the way it should be. I don't want anything. I don't want gratitude. I want to just help. That's in my world, doing this, helping others, just like the rest of you. You're helping others. You're working on your next life, because we're infinite. And that's what the Egyptians thought.
Thank you. You know, for others, we're over our 90 minutes. Are there any last minute questions? Does anybody want to, raise your hand or type something in the chat if you don't know how to do the raise hand function in Zoom? So I'd like to give you that last opportunity before we end the call. Jackie, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you very much for doing this. I feel like a newbie, but believe it or not, I know more than I thought I did. And so that makes me feel really good. And also, I keep looking at Linda Jones, and she looks like my twin. And it's driving me crazy. But anyhow, I want to just say thank you to everybody. And Claudio, I'm going to get my time of birth and I'm going to send you all that information. And I really appreciate you extending that to me and to everybody else. So thank you so much, everybody. It was very interesting.
Fantastic. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And yes, I saw that Linda looked just like you. And I said, oh, Linda, you're out of the shower. Or, wait a minute. It was Jackie that said she was.
Yeah, Jackie took the I got lipstick now too, so.
You're like a marvelous doll.
Thank you. But we do look alike.
Yes, you do.
Tad, I wanted to thank Claudio. I actually can think of 2 people that I've had challenges with that he might be able to help. Because at some point you recognize that there's only so far you can go with certain people. And then it's time. This is why it takes a village. It takes knowing other people with other modalities in order to help people for the next step of their journey. So I definitely am going to pass your information along. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thanks, Lois. See?
Thank you, and I appreciate what you do, sister.
All of
I
us
really
have
do.
a
It's
piece.
awesome. And everybody here.
Yeah. All of us have a piece of the puzzle, and when we get together like this, it becomes so expansive. The information that we share and learn together. Patricia's got her
Thank you
hand.
all very much. I do appreciate coming on here and listening to all the positive vibes, and maybe we'll see you guys in Mount Shasta or somewhere on the road at one of the little light worker gatherings. God bless you all. Thank you so much for having me on, Kat.
Thanks for coming, Rob.
Thanks for sharing your knowledge, brother.
Patricia?
Oh, mine was just a question of clarification. I haven't been on the calls in months because I think when we did the August break, I just got out of rhythm and I never know when the calls are now. Are they every other week? They every week or?
Well, that's a good question because we haven't had as many volunteers and it got a little bit low as far as participation. But it's funny how whenever something crazy happens in the world, everybody wants to start being on the calls again. We've been doing them every other week, depending on who's available. Not everybody's available at the same time, and there have only been 3 hosts. And then we just added Rob from the UK, and I'm grateful for the volunteer coordinators who will host these meetings. What we're doing is taking turns. So we have a calendar that we look at, and we decide who's going to be talking on what date, and then it gives them time to come up with their topic. But with current events and everything that's going on, I thought it was really important to talk about how to stay above the fray that we're experiencing right now, the stuff in Israel. And there's putting out posting an article that I wrote, which looks at so much of what was discussed today that it blows my mind. Claudio and I also have synchronicities quite often, and it cracks me up when it does happen, but it's amazing. So again, I think it's the information needs to come out and be shared. So right now it's every other week, but if people are starting to show more interest, we might bump it up to weekly. And I would say check the event calendar, but right now it's new software, so I can't get it to work. And that's not my job, so I can't do it. So what we'll do is notify you by email. And you got this by email?
No.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
I just went online. I went online and saw that the calendar, and I thought, they're going to do an event this week, so I jumped on.
Okay, make sure I've got your calendar or your email so that I can send you an invite to anything that comes up, though.
Okay.
You can do it here.
And Claudio, I was interested in your class on Wednesdays about the Bible, just because of my background in religion. Coming out of that, I was once told by a healer that the Bible is very metaphysical if you can understand it that way. And I can't, because I've been so programmed in the other way of understanding the scripture. So I would like to participate in that. That would be good.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
So
we welcome.
just let me know how to tap into it. Where's the link? What time? And I'll try to be there.
I sent you that I sent that in a chat to you. I put it in the chat.
I did. Okay. Very good.
Hang on, let me just double check. Pretty sure I did. Yep. Do you see it?
Yes. No, I don't. I didn't see it.
Did you grab my email? If you email me, I'll send it to you.
I do have your email. I did grab that.
Okay, yeah, and then I'll send it to you.
Good. Thank you. Thanks. It was a great call.
Thanks,
It's
Patricia.
awesome.
You'll love his talks. And then it's sort of like this where we all take turns sharing. It's wonderful. And he'll show a video. Today it wasn't structured, but the information that needed to come out did. Thank you, Lois. Thank you, Claudio. Rob's already gone. This was this is one of our better calls, and I'm so glad it was recorded. I'm going to stop the recording right now, though. And